So here we are, home stretching, final week. The big day's only a few days away.
I'll drink to that.
As will I. A delicious bone shaker India Pale Ale.
And I got the forbidden dry cider.
Yeah,
it is pretty dry.
We picked up some more beverages to match the season.
Yeah.
And we tucked into our final week, which we started off with werewolves, then we went to vampires, cannibals, and then we think we're just going to relax for this final week. So we chose a couple films that are kind of near and dear to our hearts just because of variety. It is the proverbial Halloween grab bag of weird and kind of creepy stories. So first we watched 2007's Trick or Treat.
Smashing jack-o'-lanterns? Stealing candy? It's okay. Believe it or not, I was just like you when I was a kid. Till my dad set me straight, that is. See, my dad taught me tonight is about respecting the dead. Because this is the one night that the dead and all sorts of other things roam free.
And it's a great movie. I don't think there's anything really bad to say about it, but other than I wish more people would know about it.
Yeah, you know, it just seems like the other year it came out. You know, this is going back a fair bit, almost 10 years.
Yeah.
But it's one of the compilation movies that you guys are probably familiar with, like Creep Show, stuff like that. You know, where it's a bunch of short stories filmed in, you know, they're all kind of scary and stuff like that. And you kind of mash them all together, and you end up with a movie.
Yeah, you end up with a kind of
a hell of a movie.
A hell of a movie that's got a kind of a continued narrative. They all kind of happen together on the same night, same area and same neighborhood, and it's got some really nice little stories. It's got one of my crushes, Anna Paquin, in there. You may shrug, you may roll your eyes, but I still thought she was pleasant to look at.
She's easy on the eyes, but for some reason I just can't make that connection like you can.
Well, and it's weird because I don't think she was the main draw of this. She was definitely one of the headlining cast members.
She might be the biggest star in the film.
Yeah, but it starts off with a pretty neat little opening vignette with Tamo Penniket of Battlestar Galactica fame.
Is that his name?
Yeah,
Tamo Penniket. Okay.
Yeah. He's Alaskan.
I just call him Hilo.
Hilo. And yeah, just a big grown up like us, just can't seem to give up on Halloween. And what was the second story? It was the principal.
It was the principal. You know, we got a car, that pumpkin. I don't know if the camera will pick that up, but you know, that's my impression.
Yeah, very stern, very intense man, but very likable. Kind of a Ned Flanders with a sinister edge. And no, it's a story that takes place during Halloween, a festival. There's a big party downtown, and all the people are either for it, against it, or taking part in it. And the one character that is drawn to this whole festivities is little Sam Hain, and one of the cutest little costumes I've ever seen in terms of creepy costumes. He's a great little mascot. He's got a big burlap sack head and a red onesie, and he walks around with a big lollipop. And
anytime if I do that, I would get arrested.
I do, and people just kind of accept it as normal.
And you get arrested
too? No, I don't. But no, he's kind of the observer by which moves through the storylines and kind of influences people and just observes.
Well, basically, this movie is about respect of the holiday. You know, and Sam Hain is kind of the like the spirit of Halloween.
Yeah.
That ensures things are going as they should. You know, and some people are a little disrespectful about certain holidays.
Yeah.
You know, and he's just there to set things right.
Well, and that's the big thing is a lot of people. You'll hear it even nowadays. Oh, Halloween isn't a holiday. There's too much foo-for-ah put towards it, and to heck with it all. And it wasn't that long ago that this this time of year was very important to a lot of people. A short 150, 200 years ago.
Yeah, you know, it's if you could probably make the argument that Halloween is actually one of the most holy days of the year, though not for what it's become, but for what it stood for.
Yeah.
Which it's a harvest festival. It's kind of like the last big hurrah before the onset of winter.
Yeah, everyone has to buckle down. So this is enjoy the last of the summer bounty.
Yeah, this is the last batch you're gonna have before midwinter. You know, and you know, it's kind of a holiday of, I guess, remembering who's come before and may no longer be with you.
Yep.
You know,
it's respecting the dead and how their efforts and their work and their lives have helped you to get to this point, kind of in a way. Yeah, it was more important back in the day when everyone was farmers and everyone worked hard to make sure that this festival was good and the year was good and everyone had enough to eat.
Right.
And it's a big part of it, and it's been changed over the course of time. But you know, movies like this, they keep the spirit of the old and they blend it with the new modern stuff so well that it's hard not to like this movie.
Yeah, each of the stories is really good. You know, the my personal favorite story is about that bus driver.
Yeah.
Who was hired by his well, he drives a school bus for these children, the special needs children, and he was hired by their parents to make sure one day they never come back.
And boy, he did a good job.
You know, I mean, these stories are pretty grim. You know, that's a pretty hardcore tale.
Yeah.
You know, they're not throwing you any soft lob pitches here. You know,
every story has an edge to it, and you know, as hammy and tongue-in-cheek as the movie can come across, you know, these are good stories. These are worthy stories. And the way they all come together and make the whole is, it's a very quick 2 hours.
Yeah, that just flew right by, you know.
And I could watch it again. Can we watch it again? Okay. So we got to get this video done so we can get right back to it. But no, for me, absolute recommended. If you love Halloween, if you like horror movies, this has a permanent spot on your shelf.
This personally might be one of my top 3 Halloween movies of all time. You know, and a lot of people will say, oh, well, you gotta go with The Exorcist #1, maybe Rosemary's Baby #2,
The Godfather 3.
The Godfather 3. No, but this is right up there. It's at least top 5.
You know, I can't argue with that, because when you actually get down to looking at it, there's not a whole ton of Halloween movies. You know, you have the ones that are near and dear to your heart, but nobody seems to really want to break new ground. And that's what was cool about Trick or Treat.
What's cool about Trick or Treat is it retreads that old familiar path that you should know why Halloween exists. You know, and why it's important, and you know why personally I consider it quite a holy time. You know, and it's just a good primer. You know, I wish they made more movies like this.
I do too. And you know, this is back in 2007, so 8 years ago was the last time we had kind of a let's have fun on Halloween movie, and it was aimed for that. It wasn't just a horror movie that came out around Halloween. This was a Halloween movie.
Yeah.
And that'll always have a spot in my heart for that. So it's one of my favorites. But then it also makes you think of all the other movies that came before it that were built in the same vein.
Well, then you get a movie named Halloween.
Yeah.
That's just about a killer.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's so what?
Well, I was talking about the other compilation movies.
Oh, the other compilations, yeah.
Yeah, like you had said earlier, Creep Show and stuff like that. But we chose to go back in time to a little piece that has been haunting me since I was a little kid.
You have so many things that haunted you for, how old are you now?
32.
32? For like the past 20 years or longer.
Yeah, and you know, we've been knocking them down slowly one by one. And this was another one, and it's 1988. Stephen King's Cat's Eye.
Remember, it's just like getting a shot at the doctor's office.
You're way on top now. Since you left me, you're always laughing. Way down.
And no, I remember seeing bits and pieces of this movie when I was a little kid, and it was enough to turn me off that I never looked at it again.
Mm-hmm.
And it remained that way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because I always got a chuckle whenever I'd say, "Oh, that scared the hell out of me."
It genuinely did?
Yes. You know, it's another movie that's built off of a bunch of small stories, and honestly, I didn't remember the first two stories. I remembered parts and kind of flashes of the scenery, but it's the last story with the little troll that steals kids' breaths, kids' breath.
Yeah.
That's what got me, and
But that thing was no taller than this delicious can of cider.
Well, that being said, he still had a little knife.
It was about the size of this this tab on this little delicious can of cider.
Well, for me, the big thing I never liked about that story is I hate little things coming around in the night. I hate the idea of things sneaking around when I'm sleeping, and that kind of creeps me out. And it's one of those things. As a kid, I was the kind to never have my feet and hands dangle off the side of the bed, because if I did, yeah, I'm getting grabbed or you know, they're gonna have their way with me. But if I'm perfectly,
What are they
on top
gonna
of
do?
it,
What's he gonna do?
I never found out because I always had my feet and hands on the
They're
bed.
gonna kick my ass.
They're gonna kick my ass. No, so for me, going into the Stephen King compilation for Halloween was actually, I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, and you know, we're talking a lot about the first or the last story, but the first couple were, you know, they're pretty good.
And I think the one thing to note is that it wasn't a Halloween movie compilation like Trick or Treat.
No, this was their creepy stories set on any given day America.
Yeah, it's got a more distinct Outer Limits feel, Twilight Zone feel than it did, you know, 'Tis the Season sort of thing.
Yeah.
That being said, the first story was blew me away. I really enjoyed that one. It was about this shady agency called Quitters Incorporated.
Yeah, James Woods hires these guys to help him quit smoking, and how they do it is not by giving James Woods the help, but if he breaks the rules, they go after his family.
Yeah.
They put him in the little room with the electrified floor.
Yeah, and they put on Jackie Wilson or whatever song that was.
Or yeah, you know, it's
it's you slip up and we electrocute your family, and then we go after your kids.
And then we go after your wife, and then
yeah, it's a very sinister story. And they said we're always watching, and it's just James Woods just looking paranoid as hell. Every situation he wants to have a cigarette, and boy, everyone's giving him the eyeball, so he always puts it away, and people are invading his house.
Yeah, that was kind of creepy.
And he says the first month is the worst, and after that, you know, hopefully the habit's broken. And no, it was just a wonderfully creepy story, and that was the highlight of Cat's Eye for me.
Yeah, you actually like that more than the little troll.
I didn't mind the little troll story, now that I'm all grown up and I'm a man. But the first story just had a better appeal to me.
Okay.
Like, I like James Woods. He was perfect in it. Yeah, it was just my favorite of the three. The second one, however, was, we both kind of agreed it was the weakest.
I can't remember it.
Well, it's the one about...
We just saw it, like, what, an hour or two ago, and I can't... Oh, it's the...
Yeah, the rich guy who was an old retired tennis pro sleeping around with his wife. So he tunes him up and brings him up to his Las Vegas high-rise and says, well, you know, I'm a betting man, and if you can walk around the outside of my building on this little ledge, you can have the money you took from me. You can have we're not going to do anything to you, and you can have my wife.
And oddly enough, you know, one thing that they were quite insistent on saying was, and you'll get your car washed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, they dirtied it up. They were,
All right.
they were sneaking drugs on them.
Why are you mentioning that? You know, the amount of money that I'm going to win, I could have.
I could
the
wash
deluxe
my own
one.
car.
Yeah, I could wash my own car. Have another man wash my car. Why would you throw? Why is that the icing on the cake? You know.
I don't know. I mean, if the deal's right on the edge, the car wash could push it over. You never know.
How about I'd rather take. We'll always come and plunge your toilets or something like that.
Well, it's like you win everything, and the deal's almost broken, except we're giving you a dirty Camaro. Can I have a clean
Can
Camaro?
I have a clean one?
That's all I ask. No, but there was a much more playful tone in this compilation, and the stories, they were kind of kooky and out there, but boy, they're fun to watch.
Yeah, it was pretty good, you know.
So from one of I'd say the master of horror, Stephen King.
Probably.
Very tense, very paranoid, very out there ideas, and it's like this guy writes so much. Of course, he's going to have 3 crazy ideas in a movie that was well received when it came out. It didn't do so great for sales and box office, but you know, it's Stephen King. Who's not going to like what he does? Generally, I'd say most of the people like what he does.
That was his hottest decade too, the 80s.
Yeah, he had probably more adaptations of his work in the 80s than he ever did in the 90s and 2000s. But that's kind of the tone of him. Is come Halloween, you think about, you know, Stephen King. It's easier to remember all the movies that he's written and all the ways he's influenced a lot of the new filmmakers. So that being said, you know, if you don't have a clear set idea or agenda of what specific movies you want to watch, I think these compilation videos are just about the perfect way to go.
Right. You know what I take from these movies, these ones especially, is by all means have a little fun on Halloween. You know, but second of all, you have to kind of respect what it actually stands for.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think that's something you and me have both tried to do. I mean, we're not here to knock down Halloween or have too much of a laugh at it. Sure, there's some silly parts, but by and large, I think we're just both looking for a good time. And you know, if you're a guy that makes Halloween-themed movies, horror movies, scary movies, what have you, there's a lot more humor to be had in them than you think. And I think that's an important aspect of horror that a lot of people tend to overlook. And these 2 films just exemplified it to a T.
Yeah.
So for me, you know, that's a perfect night of viewing. If you want to get in the mood and the spirit, Sam Hain wouldn't complain and wouldn't say no. How about you?
I'm not saying no either. See 'em.